Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel for another video. If you're new here, hi, my name is Samin Yasser, a recent high school graduate set to begin university this coming fall. And on my channel, I tend to make educational videos about international undergraduate admissions, study efficiency, and general productivity. As the title suggests for this video, I'll be sharing with you all 5 tips that helped me maximize the amount of time that I spent over shortlisting universities. Now, I understand that if you are someone who is beginning to shortlist colleges, the entire process might seem very confusing for you, as there are literally hundreds of options that you can choose from, but only a limited amount of time, effort, and money that you can actually end up investing. Therefore, it is essential to be tactical and smart with where you end up applying to in the end. Now, a quick disclaimer before I begin my video. All the tips and suggestions that I'll be sharing from here onwards are all part of my personal beliefs and agenda, and these massively helped me while I was applying to universities last year, but by no means are they absolute. So if you find any other tips or suggestions that you deem to be effective, then please feel free to use them. And one more thing before I begin, just recently, I took part in this admissions workshop as a panelist for prospective students applying to university from fall 2022 and onward. In the workshop, I was joined by 3 other panelists, all of us who got into great universities, and we had an immensely fruitful discussion that lasted for over 2 hours on how you can effectively construct a proper college list. So if you're interested in learning a bit more about how you can do this, and if you're also interested to learn a bit more about different perspectives about the matter, then feel free to watch a recording of the workshop that I'll be linking down in the descriptions box below. Okay, so that's enough introductions. Let's go down into the tips right now. Okay, tip number 1, your passion. Now, it is often confusing as a high school student to decide what kind of profession you want to engage yourself in after you graduate university. It's because throughout high school, we tend to focus on many different subjects altogether instead of focusing in 1 or 2 in particular. As a result, we might either be interested in a lot of subjects or might not be particularly interested in any at all. This makes a university search very difficult as we are not sure what type of majors or programs we should apply to. However, to maximize your search for an ideal university, I highly suggest you to come up with a minimum of 1 or a maximum of 2 fields of interests. And it's not that difficult, if you think about it. If you sit down with a clear and calm mind and begin evaluating your strengths, you will definitely see that you have an affinity for certain subjects over others. For instance, in my case, I liked biology and math a lot more than I liked chemistry and physics. So when I was applying to university, I knew that I should be shortlisting those universities that provided the specialized bioengineering courses that I was interested in. And this heavily simplified my entire college search process, as not all the universities provided the bioengineering experience that I was interested in. At the high school level, you do not really have to have an idea about the type of job you want to engage yourself in. For instance, under the broad spectrum of economics, you can either be a business analyst or a policymaker. Now, it is more essential that at high school, you know whether or not you love economics before deciding whether or not you want to be a business analyst or a policymaker, because that decision will spur up in a more realistic fashion as you go along through your university years. Now, if even after trying a lot, you cannot seem to come up with 1 or 2 fields of interest, then fret not, as there are many universities and curriculums called the liberal arts curriculum that allow you to go in as an undecided student with no major. So if you're someone who has an aptitude for many different subjects but is not sure what you want to engage yourself in, then perhaps a liberal arts college might be suitable for you, where you study different courses from, say, the humanities, social sciences, and natural sciences for the first 2 years of education before declaring your major in your 3rd year. Hence, as you can see, it is essential to see what your passion is so that you can decide whether you want to look for institutions that cater to your interests, or you want to look for institutions where you can explore your interests. Moving on to tip number 2, the rankings. Now, this is something that I feel like a lot of people misinterpret, especially for Bangladeshi students. I'm sure a lot of our Bangladeshi viewers can relate that growing up, we tend to hear a handful of universities like Harvard, Stanford, Princeton, and we automatically consider them to be utopian. And we think that if we graduate from these universities, we are automatically guaranteed a good career and a good life. However, this is a very backward mentality, as by having this mentality, we are depriving ourselves from exploring the rich depth of universities that are on offer. And furthermore, by doing so, we are also kind of getting misled, because if you look at the global ranking forums like QS World Rankings and Times Education, Each of these forums use different factors like, say, college size, location, the number of research papers published, etc., to make their global rankings, which might not even matter to you. So by following these global rankings, you could get very misled in the path of selecting the universities that you end up applying to. And being brutally honest, perhaps a degree from one of these higher ranked universities might help you get into a very lucrative job, but in the long run, it doesn't actually matter where you graduated from. Instead, what matters more is how efficiently you are able to perform the responsibilities that are given to you. And this efficiency is derived from the networking you do in university, the courses you take, and the experiences that you build. And these things can be earned in any university and not in only high-ranked universities. So my tip for you would be, or my tip for anyone watching this would be, to stop obsessing over the ranks and instead look for universities that provide most or all of the things that you're looking for in your university education. For instance, if you're someone who prefers a robust, all-round education, then perhaps you might apply to a lot of liberal arts colleges where you are able to kind of study courses from a lot of different subjects in conjunction to your major. In retrospect, if you're someone who is very certain of what you want to pursue subject-wise, and if you're certain that you do not want to explore courses from other academic fields, then perhaps you're better off shortlisting a lot of big public and private universities. In conclusion, ask yourself what is the type of teaching style and environment you want to invest your university life in. Tip number 3, scholarships and financial aid. Data shows that majority of students who apply to universities are seeking for some sort of monetary support. Especially if you're an international student, the expenditures matter a lot, so you need to be very sensible with your applications. You should check out which universities you are eligible to get financial support. And I say eligible because if you look at some of the big and reputable public universities in the US, such as the UCs like UCLA and UC Berkeley, you will see that even though these universities are very highly ranked, if you are an international student, you will not be eligible to receive any sort of scholarship or financial aid in these universities. So if you are an international aid-seeking student, perhaps you're better off not applying to the UCs at all. Moreover, see what type of scholarship you qualify for. And I say this because there are different types of monetary support that a university can provide you with. For instance, on one hand, we have scholarships which are given out dependent upon your merit and not on your ability to pay, whilst on the other hand, we have financial aid, which is given out on your ability to pay and not on your merit. Some universities also give out tuition grant schemes, which are basically subsidized fees provided by the government to international students. So it is essential to see what type of aid you want and what type of aid you qualify for, and to see if the universities you shortlist are compatible by providing these types of monetary support to you. And one last point that I'd like to make under the scholarships and financial aid point is to see if there are any external scholarships available to you. These are basically scholarships or financial aid that are given to you after you begin your studies in that university, perhaps dependent upon your GPA or your extracurricular involvement. So by knowing whether or not there are internal scholarships available, perhaps even if you get an average scholarship at the entry level, you can still be confident enough to go and enroll in the university because you know that perhaps you can make more throughout the way. And finally, I know that navigating through so many universities to see all the scholarship opportunities and financial aid opportunities might be a very big hassle. So if you want me to kind of encapsulate some of the opportunities into a nice and coherent video or a document, then please let me know in the comment sections below, and I'll see what I can do about it. Next up, tip number 4, campus life. Often the most neglected aspect, but equally as important as the ones that I discussed above, is campus life. Now, first things first, what do we understand by campus life? This is a very vast term that actually on the surface refers to how diverse or vibrant the community is at the institution where you end up applying to, which also refers to what the general mindset and mentality is of the people there. Some of the many factors that affect campus life is the size and location of the college, how diverse the community is, the student organizations that there are, and the type of summer opportunities that are available. Now, the ultimate goal from a university is not only to earn a degree, but also to learn the life skills that will help you kind of tackle the professional life that will follow after you graduate. and there is a huge kind of correlation between campus life and professional success. In fact, the Gallup organization once conducted this research where they tried to see how important the connection is between campus life and professional success. And they found out that students who are engaged in vibrant and robust campus lives are about 1.4 to 1.8 times more likely to succeed in the latter aspects of life. Hence, as you can see, it is very essential that you genuinely like the time that you spent in your chosen university. And keep in mind that it's not your parents, your siblings, your teachers, or your friends who is going to attend university. It is going to be you. So it is very, very, very essential that you actually and genuinely like the vibes and environment in the university. And to find out the campus life in your university to help you shortlist better, you can hop onto YouTube and look at the lives of college vloggers, or you might perhaps get in touch with some current college students, or you can just hop onto the internet and look at some of the out-of-classroom opportunities that the university you're interested in has to offer. Coming down to the last point, realism. Arguably one of the more decisive factors, it is important that you have a realistic idea of the probability that you have in getting accepted to the universities that you shortlist. Now, even though it's always welcome to dream big and have aspirations that know no bounds, you need to be sensible by choosing those universities where you think your grades and achievements are likely to stand out. Not all universities have the same academic requirements. For instance, while some universities prefer students who have an SAT score beyond the 75th percentile, others may also accept students with SAT scores between the 25th and 75th percentile. Similarly, while some universities may prefer students with a lot of A stars, some may even admit students with a mixture of A's and B's. And you might also be very surprised to know that in some academic departments, especially in the US and UK, some universities even have preferences for the type of extracurricular activities that the student is engaged in. For instance, if you're someone who's applying for undergraduate medicine in the UK, then you are more likely to get admitted if you have had extracurricular involvement in, say, volunteering in a local public health organization or by shadowing doctors. You can easily find the academic requirements for your selected universities by simply going onto the internet and typing, for instance, University X, GPA and SAT score requirements, and more often than not, these will pop up in a very straightforward fashion. I personally prefer using Prep Scholar and collegedata.com, so you might find these tools very powerful as well. And for my viewers from Bangladesh, I know that perhaps your schools might not follow a GPA system and might issue letter grades such as A stars, A's, B's and whatnot. So in that case, I've linked below a website where you can easily convert your letter grades into a 4.0 GPA scale. So that might help you kind of compare your scores with the traditional US GPA system where the GCSEs and A-levels are quite uncommon. But if you're someone who's applying to, say, the UK, Australia, or Canada, you can easily find out your GCSEs and A-level requirements by simply going on to that institution's website and looking for them, and more frequently, you will find them being stated very, very clearly. As for extracurricular activities, well, no university actually blatantly declares that they have a preference for certain extracurricular activities over others. However, as a rule of thumb, and make sure that whatever ECA you declare, you are able to demonstrate passion and commitment, because that really catches the eyes of admissions officers. And on top of that, if you're able to kind of demonstrate some ECAs that are relevant to the type of major or program that you're trying to apply to, then that also gives you a slight edge over the other applicants, because that again demonstrates commitment and passion in the type of study or education that you're trying to achieve. Okay, so with that, I've come to the end of my video. I understand that this was a very long video with a lot of content, but hopefully it will be able to help some of you out. Now, before I finish my video, I'll let you know that there are some powerful tools that I use, such as College Raptor and collegedata.com, that help me find my suitability or compatibility with the universities that are shortlisted. So I'll be linking those websites down below, and hopefully you can find them useful. And that is it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.